GLAM, Los Angeles.
Hi, Kirby. Hi, Sarah. Welcome to Los Angeles.
Okay, so we teased this a little bit on Slack because we wanted to know what questions you had for a true cosmetic chemist. And wow, you guys had a lot of questions and also really good questions.
Yes.
Like I was like, our listeners are so smart. I said that to Matt yesterday. I was like, wow, so smart. So today we have a true cosmetic chemist on the podcast, friend of the pod, Ramya Viswanathan. You are a cosmetic chemist and founder of CMPRESSD Beauty, which is a zero-waste hair care brand. You've been in the industry for over a decade in product development, formulation, and manufacturing. And we're just so excited to pick your brain and ask you all these questions that our listeners had, but also Kirby and I have a bunch of questions for you too.
Sounds good. I'm so happy to be here.
Thanks for coming
Thank
on.
you for coming on. I actually, before we get into all of these questions, can I just kick things off?
Yes, please.
So in 2020, I think it was 2024, Sarah and I predicted that bars were going to be very popular, and not just bar soap that you clean your body with, but for hair. We were starting to see a little bit of that get popular, and then I think it kind of died down. Even though the skinification of hair was really popular last year, we didn't see as many bars as we thought.
Yeah.
Enter CMPRESSD.
Yes.
And now we have a really beautiful formula when it comes to hair care and in a bar.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about why you wanted to go the bar route?
It's really interesting because we've seen, a lot of people ask me why I didn't do skincare, but I'm like, we have enough serums. There's a lot of good moisturizers and things like that. And I always think about the industry shifting when you're adopting something new and people don't want to have something that they have to get used to. And bars, kind of like natural deodorants, if you think about it, you have to get used to them. And I felt like there was a way to make it so that they actually felt better. So that's kind of how it came about. A lot of bars are typically, so there's 3 ways of making bars. They're either rebranded soap, which, high pH, not suitable for hair, but people will use it because it's a bar, but they don't really like it. The other way of making it is you take your surfactants, which is your cleansing ingredients in a shampoo. A shampoo is typically like 85, 90% water. You take the water out and replace it with waxes to give it structure. So it foams and it cleanses, but you have this waxy residue and it's kind of like, you'll use it because it's a bar. It doesn't feel great. It feels like clean and not so clean at the same time. Works for some people, doesn't work for everybody. And the way I'm making it, or the other way, is I found a way to make it without using any waxes. So you'd basically just press down your surfactants. And it's the closest to feeling like a regular shampoo without needing the water or the bottles.
Is that why it's called CMPRESSD?
Yes.
I love that.
And
I love that.
It lathers really well. So like if you had just the lather, you wouldn't know that it came from a bar, right? Like you're like, oh, actually, this is just like the shampoo from my bottle.
Yeah.
And then you can use it on all hair types too, which I think is like something you should be really proud of because that's super challenging.
So it was exciting because it works across hair types. I made sure I tested it across the board. Even when I ran it for clinicals and things like that, we were able to capture a whole bunch of different hair types. And it's actually fun to use. I was initially just gifting it to people. It was a thing I made for myself, and I gifted it for people. And everyone asked for more, so I was like, maybe let's give it a try, see where it goes, and just sort of growing it slowly.
Okay, I hate saying this is a stupid question because there are no stupid questions, but what's the best way to use a bar for your hair?
That's a really
should
smart
you
question.
be like rubbing it directly on your head? Do you put it in your hand?
Most people don't know. That's the funny thing. Everyone's like, cool soap. And I'm like, it's not a soap. Rub it in your hands, then lather it in your hair. Or you could just swipe a couple of times.
And then lather.
So it is very similar to shampoo. What we've been told by, these amazing professional hairstylists is they often see people just dump things on their head and then it's kind of like thick and it's not really, it's too much. When you activate it in your hands, it gives you a little bit more of what you need.
Yes.
Okay. Love that. Okay, thank you. I love it. That's such a fun, I've loved the backstory.
Yeah. Okay, so before that, you still currently, you work in R&D. You have an impressive career. The first time I met you was on a Biossance press trip, and you were in the lab, and I was like, oh my God, look at this cute scientist. And she was like mixing it up, I can't remember what it was. Was it sunscreen or, no, was it?
We were working on, I want to say it was some kind of a retinoid at the time.
Yes, okay, it was a retinoid. You had been working there for a while, helping not just create products for Biossance, but for a number of other brands. So can you tell us a little bit about working there and also like how you just got into cosmetic chemistry in the first place.
So going back to the beginning, so cosmetic chemistry was interesting because it's not at the time, it was not really a traditional career path. And I kind of stumbled across it. So whenever I was always curious about ingredients and how things work, how do you make things? When I was a teenager, I used to, whenever I had my Allure magazine, new copies, I used to save the articles that quoted Ron Robinson.
Stop.
You're kidding.
And I'm like, this is so cool, Cosmetic Chemist. And, I would look forward to any time he quoted an article because he never spoke to, it was cool to have a scientist who works in the space. And it was a really interesting, it was just inspiring.
That's like,
Have you met him?
We haven't met in person.
What?
I wrote him a message once, like, I used to save your articles.
Oh my God. You were going to make his life.
That is amazing.
And it was an inspiration. And it was so cool to see. So love to see what he's done with Beauty Stat. And he's still like a legend. And it's always great to see that. But I kind of forgot about the industry for a little bit. And then it just came back somehow. And I got more curious about ingredients. Even when I was like late teen years, had some acne challenges and things like that. You want to know what's going into products and, what's triggering certain things. So I learned a lot about ingredients just kind of on my own. And then the first job I took out of college was at a manufacturing firm that was making formulas for a whole bunch of brands. And I just wanted to see who'd take a chance on me. And it happened. I contacted a whole bunch of companies and heard back from some and took something that I thought was a good opportunity. And it's interesting because prior to being in the industry, I used to think all big companies had their own labs and, you only have like Estee Lauder and L'Oreal. But a lot of companies would send out their manufacturing to these manufacturing firms because they already have the equipment and everything. So they're basically contracting out the service. So I started doing that. And over the next few years, I was basically writing recipes for a whole bunch of brands across skincare, hair care, sun care, and just learned a lot along the way. And it was super exciting. I loved my job. And that's how I started. Then
so cool.
It was interesting. Then a few years into it, I think it was 6-7 years, then there was this interesting company that was coming about called Biossance. I was familiar with the squalene ingredient prior because generally you're buying like the shark kind, and Biossance was doing something really cool with a different process where they were using, fermentation and sugarcane, and it was really unique. And they had just done sort of a rebrand. I don't know if you've seen what it used to look like before when they first came out. It was like these clear bottles, and it was kind of cool, very like spa looking. And then before they did the green bottles, and they had just done the rebrand in 2017. That's when I joined. It was a really small team. And it was just to kind of build out the product assortment. So that was really exciting. And what I did is I brought R&D in-house. So the other thing that's really interesting is most beauty brands, not all, but most of them are contracting out their formula development. And just because there was a science element with Biossance, I had the chance to build R&D in-house. And what's cool with that is you kind of know what's going into everything. We would dream up an idea upstairs, and then I would go to the lab downstairs and basically come up with something pretty quickly. So it was kind of a fun way to develop things.
So cool.
Yeah.
Did you like go into like Sephora's and like Ulta's and be like, that's my baby. I made that.
It's so cool.
That's
and
so
when you
cool.
see it, and the cool thing about just being in beauty and product development is the timelines are generally, faster than other industries. If you think of just other types of, drug development, industrial products, beauty, you have the chance to see your idea turn, materialize in a period of a couple of years.
Yeah. Is there a product you can talk about that you were like most proud of creating during your time there?
Ooh. I did like all of the products. I have to say, going to be biased.
Yeah.
I did like all of the products. I would say the one that I think is kind of underrated, or sometimes the ones that people forget about, and one of the sleepers, I think at least at Biossance, was my favorite product was this lactic acid product. And it's really interesting because it's a have you used anything with lactic acid in it?
Yeah, I actually love lactic acid.
Same.
Super underrated. I always go back to ingredients. There's only like a handful that I think really work well. Lactic acid, glycolic acid, AHAs in general work really well. But people don't realize you need the right pH balance and the right level of emolliency and things like that for it to work. Everyone always thinks like you need like 20% of this or a high percentage. But if you have the right optimized percentage with the right pH, sits at about 3.5, because anytime you go above 4, it's not going to be as active. So it was really well balanced. So it kind of exfoliates and moisturizes at the same time. So that was my favorite. There's all these other cool products and things like that, but I always find myself going back to that one.
Do they still have it?
Yeah, they still have it.
Good to know.
Yeah.
I'll have to try it.
Okay, so let's go back to compressed.
Yeah.
What has been the biggest challenge of making these high performance formulas in a zero waste format?
Part of it, I say the biggest part that has less to do with the product is actually educating on it, because right away they think it's a soap. So just kind of distinguishing that, and it's still a new concept. When people are like, what do you do for work? I'm like, I make shampoo bars. Everyone's like, what are those? So it's still a relatively unfamiliar concept for a lot of people, but once people try it, they actually do enjoy it. I think on making everything, I wanted it to be sensorially enjoyable. It needs to lather well. It needs to rinse clean. You don't want it to have any kind of buildup or residue. And have it in a way that's really easy to use and make it intuitive. And just kind of getting all those elements are pretty interesting. And then making it in it needs to be easy to hold, things like that. If you notice, the bars actually stand up. And the reason I do that is so you don't lay it flat, so it drains a little easier, because you do need to drain them.
Oh, what do you mean? Have the wash off essentially, in the shower?
It needs to dry down?
Yeah, so it needs to dry in between, because you don't want to keep it stored in a pool of water. Otherwise, it's going to get kind of weird. So that's the only tricky thing. But that being said, there's ways of working around it. But that's why I have them standing up.
Cool.
So they kind of drain a little bit more easily. So I think that part was interesting. And then the ingredient part of it, getting the surfactant ratios right to have a creamy foam. So most people don't. Well, I think some people. Have you noticed sometimes when you use a shampoo, sometimes the foam's a little creamier, sometimes it's a little more dense, or it could be big bubbles. There's this thing about having a tight, creamy foam that's really enjoyable, and it just feels luxurious. So spent a lot of time to kind of get the ratios of that. And you saw the hair swatch demo that we did, right? So I had to buy some hair strands when we had done our dinner a few weeks ago.
I know, I'm sad I missed.
The day of, I had to go pick up some hair strands, because everyone's like, you got to do a demonstratable product, but we can't wash our hair at dinner. So ended up buying some hair swatches, some real hair swatches, to see how it works. And
it was a beautiful demonstration.
Yeah,
you did a great job. I want to talk about trends. So, we were talking about shampoo bar trends. Mm-hmm. We were also talking about ingredient trends. We are always talking about how all of a sudden we're seeing this ingredient pop up in every skincare product that's coming out. Sephora is really touting this one ingredient that's in all of these moisturizers or whatever it is. And so we're like, is there the lab is telling these brands in order to be successful next year, you need to have such and such in this product. How does that work?
There are a few ways of doing it. So sometimes a store might be driving it. They might see an influx of some things. Sometimes an ingredient might become more available. Or there's a new way of making it. So the ingredient retinaldehyde?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's been around for a while, but there weren't that many versions of it, and it was really difficult to source. And this was maybe 15 years ago. And then all of a sudden I started seeing a lot of launches with it, maybe 3-4 years ago. Yeah. Way back when there were only, Aven had a retinaldehyde, maybe a couple of companies in Europe, but there were not a lot, just because the ingredient was so hard to source. And then you end up having a company that'll make a better version of it and make it more abundant, so it's easier to source. And that's one of the reasons I think we started seeing more of it. And there was this one company that made a stabilized version of it, just because retinoids in general are not very stable. There was this one company that had a stabilized version, and it makes it easier to use, and your product's not going to turn as quickly, and it has more longevity. Okay. So that is one of the ways you can see it. For some of the other ingredients, there might be a compelling story that an ingredient maker might have that's showing really good data, and that's when we start to see the influx of brands carrying these kinds of sort of trending ingredients.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there an ingredient that you think is overrated that has been popular over the last 5 years?
Overrated.
Or not overrated.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Well.
Does it actually do anything?
Peptides have been in everything for a long time.
And there's enough data. That's the thing. And most of these things have enough data. I think there's a lot of underrated ingredients.
Okay, let's go
my
there.
favorite, if you ask any cosmetic chemist, most of us are going to say our favorite ingredient is glycerin. It's cheap. It works.
Mm-hmm.
Super underrated. But maybe like I mix in extra glycerin with my own moisturizer sometimes. There might be something I like, but I have a big bottle of it just in case I need more.
You do?
I do. Yeah.
Glycerin. That's
It's so
sparkling
boring. It
compliment.
is so
I'm just
boring.
imagining you in your bathroom. You have like a jug of glycerin that you're adding to
I'll send
your
a picture.
expensive
I'm gonna-
cream.
Yes, yes.
There's this big jug of it, and sometimes you just need more. And the thing is, it's so boring, but it works so well. Retinoids, depending on the kind you use, they're not for everybody, but there are certain types that might work better for some people. Like adapalene is one of them for acne. I think it does really well. Certain types of vitamin C, they're always going to be coming around because it does work pretty well, and you have enough data behind it. So the things that really moisturize and help elasticity are what are doing a lot.
Okay.
Other ingredients, trendy ingredients come up. Someone was asking me recently whether like PDRN is going to be here to stay or if it's just having an influx. I actually don't know, but it's just I see it everywhere now.
Yeah.
I know.
And
we just actually passed a billboard on my way here
Oh, really?
of PDRN skincare.
Oh, that's when you know.
But they call
Have
it
you-
salmon. They don't say salmon sperm, but they
I
say.
think they do.
But the billboard though,
Like
they say
salmon
salmon
like
DNA.
DNA.
Oh, there
Thank
we
you.
go.
Yeah.
Salmon DNA. And I was like, huh, interesting.
Have
I
you
only
used
noticed
it?
I haven't used that one.
Yeah.
But like I bought us
yeah.
Rejurin from Stylevana.
Uh-huh.
yeah.
And it's like, yes, like those are beautiful products, but like I think are only really beneficial after you get like a treatment, like a microneedling or something like that. Like I didn't notice like a definite difference in my skin after using it for 4 weeks,
Yeah.
just like as a regular moisturizer.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
we'll see. I am very curious, but I also think that people like they just hear that it, is big in Korea and
Yeah.
they're
Right.
like, we have to do this now. Like this is the
Totally.
thing we have to do.
Yeah.
Or you seem unimpressed by it.
Well, I don't know yet. I haven't. I'm
Right.
The data.
wondering. I want to see more because
Yeah.
I think everyone everything is promoted towards sort of collagen boosting, that kind of thing, and it feels trendy. But I'm sure it has some benefits. Is it life changing? I'm not sure. Does it sound interesting and intriguing? Yes, because it's unfamiliar for a lot of people. So I think that's probably where the intrigue comes from. I predict we're going to see more things in facial volume. Have you heard of volufiline?
No.
Oh,
Can you say that again?
volufiline.
Volufiline.
I think I'm saying it right.
I mean, volume. It sounds
Yeah.
like volume.
Volufiline. It looks
Yeah,
like volufiline. It's been around. It's this ingredient that's been around for a while, and because a lot of people have been taking weight loss things for weight loss, and then they start losing facial volume. So what this does, and keep in mind it has been around for a long time, is it's supposed to help with increasing fat in certain areas in vitro. So I don't know if it actually does that when you use it, but some people who've used it, I mean, I saw someone on TikTok who used it under her eyes and it looked like it worked.
Oh.
So
So is this what's going to be in all those the
GLP-1 skincare.
I think so.
Because we've been pitched
Okay.
that hardcore, and we kind of wrote that off as anti-aging getting a makeover because it's like
Doesn't everything
don't you want
everything?
everything
Yeah.
like stimulates the collagen
Yeah.
and like
Isn't that the goal always?
that's the whole end goal.
Yeah.
Volufiline. Okay, I like saying it.
I
It's
know.
fun.
It sounds
Volufiline.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that. Thanks
Yeah.
for sharing. Okay, before we get into our listener questions, speaking of data, is there any ingredient that you feel has just been largely misunderstood that is actually safe and effective, but you find that the consumer is still really weary or even fearful of?
I think people are coming around, but I still see with general cleansing products, people assume sulfates are really bad for you. And the interesting thing with sulfates is they work really well at a low level. You don't need to use a lot of it for a product to work. I think once a lot of brands started taking sulfates out of liquids, the performance wasn't the same. And to get the same performance, you have to overcompensate with a lot of other ingredients. Sometimes it's better to use a lower level of sulfates. If they're used carefully, there's nothing wrong with them. They work. They're effective, maybe misunderstood.
I can't even remember why people
I know.
demonize sulfates.
I know.
Do you remember?
No.
I don't even remember. I feel like it's been such a long time now that I'm
Yeah.
like, why were we upset about
And
that?
like some of my favorite liquid shampoos took the sulfates out. And I'm like, this is tragic. They were
changed the
so
formula.
good before.
Yeah. Okay, wait. What about talc?
Talc. Ooh, that one, I don't have an opinion on it yet because I feel like it has so much baggage that
Yeah.
I feel for companies using talc to have to get past it.
Yeah.
It depends on how it's used. If it's free flowing, it has maybe, when you inhale it, you don't know what can happen. If it's in a pressed powder, I can see where it's functional. And I know for the brands that have taken talc away, the sensorial experience or the functionality wasn't the same. In my view, if it doesn't have any contaminants in a pressed powder, it probably should be fine to use, but people are terrified of using it. So
Yeah. And it's a big headache for the brands too right now.
Totally.
And there are ways. We were talking about. I mean, I have a thing of setting powder. It does not have talc in it. It's actually a really good one, and I didn't use it today. But
From who?
have you tried the By Terry one?
Oh
No, but I want to.
I can see it, but I don't use it.
I had it and I forgot that I had it, and it's like I had done some travel. It was piping hot.
Yeah, you were in Europe.
In Europe, yeah. And it just everywhere I went, it was piping hot. And this one kept me pretty it's like soft without drying. And it just uses 2 ingredients, and it's silica and hyaluronic acid, and that's it.
Whoa, really?
And it's so interesting because they have the right size of silica to sort of mattify but soften but absorb at the same time. And it doesn't have any talc in it. So if someone's looking for something talc-free, I'd always say, that's a good one.
Ooh. Okay, wait. I feel like we didn't ask you, but are there a few other skincare or beauty products that you think are beautifully formulated that you use?
Yes. Where should I start?
Let's start with skincare.
Okay, we'll do skincare.
Maybe 1 or 2 skincare products.
Skincare. I'm thinking. There is this brand, moisturizer, cleanser. It could be anything, right?
Yeah,
anything.
Yeah. Cleanser. There's this brand called Omorovitsa, and they have this cleanser.
It's a very expensive
it's blue.
brand.
Yes. That blue the cleansing foam.
Yep.
Okay.
It takes off all of my makeup. And I don't think it's promoted to do that, but it does take off all of my makeup, which is great because I do the, water resistant eyeliner, and I don't want to do a double cleanse sometimes.
Yeah.
And this one works really well.
Okay.
I love that brand.
Yeah.
I just have a hard time recommending it to
I
people
know,
because of how expensive it is.
I know.
But I used one of their moisturizers last night. I think I agree with you. I obviously not having the same level of expertise as you, but
they're really
love
well made.
Yes.
And I don't say that I'll justify the price because it's really well made. And the interesting thing is the beauty industry, there's a lot of products. I feel like we've talked about private labeling sometimes.
Yes.
There are a lot of times you might see the same product under different branding, and it's generally the same product. And that's kind of how dupes happen. But this brand, all of their products seem really innovative. So I always, love to support that. And I can't believe I rebuy an $80 cleanser.
Yeah, that's saying a lot though.
It does it works really well. I tried Sicily's Rose Moisturizer.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. I thought that was a good one for summer.
Okay.
Maybe not for winter, but for summer, that's a good one. I'm deciding whether I should, I'm at the end of it.
Okay.
Should I rebuy it?
I
thought
love
that's a
the
really
rose mask from Sicily.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
Yeah.
I should probably recommend something that's
We see you have
but I
expensive
actually,
taste.
I actually love that you are talking about these higher end products because there is, to your point, so much conversation online about, oh, well, you could just get a dupe.
Yeah.
Or you could get this. And to your point, yes, some of them are white labeled and they are the same product. But then there's also the brands that are making something truly innovative and unique.
Yes.
That I feel deserve their flowers.
Yeah. And even though I'm thinking of Trader Joe's because they always try to dupe something.
Yeah.
Even though it has the same ingredients does not mean it is made the same way.
That's so true because there's other things in terms of how certain ingredients are suspended, how they're delivered, and it really makes a big difference on the end formula. You might have the same key ingredient, like a vitamin C, serum, but there might be other ingredients that are interfering, or there might be, for the brands that are sort of building innovation from the ground up, there might be something that's making it better.
Does the source also matter? If someone's sourcing a certain form of, I don't know, vitamin C from this place versus this place, does that matter?
To an extent, yes. So there's certain commodity ingredients that a lot of times they might be coming from the same manufacturer and they might be under different branding just for the raw ingredients. But sometimes they're not. There might be one ingredient manufacturer that might be making a more affordable version. You have to really quantify to make sure it's exactly the same and they're not diluting anything. So just for people who are looking for a cheaper alternative to save some money on ingredients, you have to look at the true cost of everything of, do I have to use more of this to compensate for this? What's, how pure is it in terms of, is it a 100% purity or is it cut with something else? So those are the kinds of things you need to assess.
So much goes into
that's
it.
the behind the scenes. It's
I
a
wish
lot.
I had your brain when it came to that stuff.
Okay, so you mentioned 2 skincare products. What about makeup?
Makeup. This is so tragic. Guerlain had this beautiful foundation that they discontinued. So I bought like 5 bottles of it. So I'm set for a while.
No.
It's that one in the round bottle. Do you remember that one?
Yes.
Why did they discontinue
I
it?
don't know. Every time I find something that I love, it gets discontinued. I don't know why. I need to
make it yourself.
That's
I
how
need to write to them.
No, you should. You should write in.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about the Valentino Foundation.
Yeah.
Oh, they discontinued it?
Yeah, I think they're reformulating
Okay.
it. I think that honestly, I think it's a trend thing.
Mhm.
That was a natural finish and it was so gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it was a very thin formula. And I think that they're like, okay, we got to make something a little bit more
coverage.
Not even that, like something more like glossy and dewy.
Oh.
Mhm.
Like to cater to the younger
Oh.
generation. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
I know.
It's a bummer. It's a bummer because it was such, in my opinion, very beautifully formulated. I loved how it looked on my face.
I know. And then in place, since I'm saving whatever I have left and using it for special occasions. I think it was last year, a friend recommended to me this Live tinted moisturizer. I thought it was a really good product. And it's like, I think it's an SPF 50 or something like that, which is nice because, it's like,
Oh, I think so it's the,
Everyone is talking about that.
it's
I have not
essentially,
tried it.
it's the top, it's a topper essentially for their sunscreen, right?
I'm
It's
not sure.
so
No, not that one. I don't think it's that one. So it's like
Is it their tinted sunscreen?
that's the one.
It's the
Yeah,
tinted
yeah.
sunscreen.
So
Okay.
they made those
Uh-huh.
because HueGuard,
Yeah.
it was not 100% cast free. It's pretty close.
Yeah,
like
so
it
it's
is
like a regular, it's like a non-tinted. It has a little color to reduce some of the ashiness.
Yep.
But this one's more of a complexion product. So it
Yes.
does give you a little bit of coverage. It's not too heavy and it's
Okay.
just like something and
Gotta try that.
pretty wearable. So I have a friend who, she looks like a photo filter. Like she just looks like that naturally. I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you wearing? And she's like, this is what I'm using. So
We've heard a
Had to
lot about
buy
lip
it.
tinted the
Yeah.
past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
we're
awesome.
gonna have
So
to
that
try
was
that.
a good one. I think that's for makeup. What else on makeup? I went back to using that MAC pot, the eyeliner. Do you remember the one in the pot?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Does anyone still use that one? I don't know.
I love a pot eyeliner.
I think some people do.
Yeah.
Because that one is so OG.
Charlotte Tilbury, my favorite eyeliner from Charlotte Tilbury, I believe was discontinued. They came out with a new one, which is under the same name. I don't know if I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But again,
How tragic that
Is
all
it the
your
Rock and Coal?
that's the one.
They
Barbarella Brown.
No.
No.
Why do they do this?
I
This is so upsetting. I'm like now learning all these
could do a
discontinued.
whole miscontinued
No, you
episode.
could.
To be continued. I undo, like I
To be
have
continued,
a
though,
whole,
'cause you
to be
can.
continued.
You can.
Yeah,
That should be
yeah.
like
we have
an
a segment
incubator
called
you launch.
Miscontinued
Yeah.
where we talk about like products that are no longer and
Yeah.
we like it's like our plea to the brand to bring it back. But
Mhm.
you truly have the power to recreate it.
I
So
could. Yeah, I could. So I
you should
I
just
have the
make
equipment.
a brand that's just recreations of discontinued
I
products.
know. Maybe I'll ask people like,
No,
what do they miss still? Because I've done
Can
some
we be in on this?
super.
I literally
Yeah.
have a product I need you to remake.
Do you
for me.
remember like and
Pineapple
there's
face
this one?
wash from Benefit.
Oh,
Or the Urban Decay body lotion that
Oh,
literally is
yeah.
like a corset because it smooths.
oh my god.
And they discontinued it. And I like beg Wendy's Almoner every day to
No,
like
see,
make
all
it for
you
Kelly
have to do
Ray.
is just call up Ramya.
Okay,
He'll make it
Ramya.
for
No,
you.
I've done some investigative work for discontinued fragrances, and I've had some really good success for that. So a lot of discontinued fragrances I've been able to find.
my
You've
God,
heard it
we
here
haven't-
first. Our first investment in anyone is in Ramya, and we're starting a business called To Be Continued.
Yeah.
And it's all just literally
TBC.
and then we're all just copying old
Literally.
formulas that don't exist anymore.
The
Yeah.
other one, do you remember, like this one is in my memory because I'm like, what happened to, remember the brand Terax?
No,
Not
wait.
everybody knows this one.
Okay.
Some people who've been in industry long enough remember this brand called Terax. They had this hair mask called Crema.
That's not it.
And
This is a dragon.
oh gosh. Terax.
OTR.
It was interesting.
It's
they
very
had
like
this
salon. Like it
one-
looks like you buy at the salon.
It was this mask. They started with this one mask, and it was really interesting. And it had a form of tallow in it.
Oh,
I know. Everyone's like tallow
Wow.
skincare, but it was like these guys were putting it in hair way back when.
wow.
And it's some kind of hydrogenated tallow glycerides. There's some other conditioning in there, but people who have tried it swear by it.
Interesting.
Really cool product. And it's just a really simple hair mask, but there was something about it when you used it, like it turns straw into silk and like.
it still exists.
The brand,
Does
but
it?
like, but then it's like order
No, you
now.
can't order. You can't actually order.
You can't? It says Terax Italia.
So
Is this the right stuff?
That's the one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's here. You can order it. Original crema, $24.
But it's out of stock? Or no, that one's not out of stock.
That's
Oh, yeah.
interesting. Try ordering. I don't think anything's gonna
Or it's
get
going to be
sent.
like, this is 20 years old.
Okay, and what was the product name? Or what was it again? It was
Crema, the conditioner.
the conditioner.
Original Crema conditioner.
Yeah, it's here. Literally, you can buy a 34-ounce version for $78.
have to order and see
Oh
if
no,
it's
but
the
it's out of
same.
that one's out of stock.
Okay, yeah, that's the one out of stock. So I don't think any of it exists, but like they went away about 5 years ago. I want to say like 5 or 6 years ago.
Tallow. Okay for your hair.
Our friend tallow.
Not for your sunscreen protection.
I'm reading it. It says, this award-winning daily conditioner is simply the best hydrating hair treatment ever created. We can't tell you how it works. It's a secret. Ramya can, but we can say that your hair has never felt softer or easier to style. Original Crema revitalizes all hair types by reducing frizziness, improving elasticity, and detangling. It's a unique treatment. Okay, but Ramya, she blew the lid off of y'all's secret Original Crema Terax Italia.
Maybe
Just
you
telling
need
you
to
right now.
make a compressed tallow hair mask.
Tallow.
But that would be interesting. Like, how does that work?
It would like melt in your hand.
Like, you would have...
You know, when you make a regular, so would I do it as a bar? Sometimes I've explored because I didn't know if I was just going to do bar format for everything. Because part of me is like, oh, maybe I've explored different things to do with the brand, and which is always the cool part because I feel like things like masks, they need to be in a regular traditional form. It's going to feel, I'll be honest, conditioner bars, mask bars are not the most intuitive, and I recognize that. So like, I'll just stick with the shampoo bar, I guess.
yeah.
But I feel really tempted because you like the feeling of like what a mask feels like. And interestingly, even though there's tallow, there's only so much oil and butters you can put into a hair mask. You know what I mean? You actually need a lot of water in those formulas for them to work well. And then, you know, if there is something like tallow, it'd probably be a couple of % or something like that. But it still works.
Yeah.
But you have these other conditioning ingredients that are sort of, you know, doing the heavy lifting. But if you get the ratios right, it could be really enjoyable.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to use my compressed bar, and then I'm going to have to order us the original crema and see if it's the same thing.
It was interesting because I first came across it in it was like a Cosmo feature so long ago, like more than 20 years ago. And it's one of those, some news anchor was using it and I really liked her hair. And I was like, I want whatever she's using. So I ordered it immediately. Ulta used to carry it a long time ago.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
Ramya's
this is-
our girl because she used to read.
Ramya,
I feel like I should just be a
magazines just
cosmetic-
like us.
I feel like we could have like just a 3-hour conversation with you about all of that.
Yeah.
Cosmetic historian or something like that.
Yes,
Literally.
Yes.
You need to start a TikTok and just talk about
Or a Slack.
no.
Yeah.
Or not a Slack, sorry. Or a Substack.
Ooh,
Substack. You know, I finally made a Substack. I think I've posted on it twice, so maybe I'll like get back
Yeah,
to it.
you got to.
Please do.
This is
Or
so
just do,
fascinating.
We have so many questions that we do want to get to
Yes.
from our listeners. So we're going to start with Disa Wade. It says, hi, I have a few questions. Do teen and mature skin really need drastically different ingredients, or is it more about usage?
Both apply. So I would say with younger skin, I wouldn't go into get too strong on actives. Okay, they don't need AHAs. They don't really need strong retinols or anything like that. The best thing to focus on is keeping the barrier protected because people have been destroying their barriers and they're going to see the consequences of that later. The best thing you can do for your skin is just keep it really well hydrated and don't go down the super active path.
Okay.
If there's teen acne or something, obviously you might want to do something, treat that carefully, but just don't strip your barrier. So more mature skin can tolerate retinoids and things like that. So that's where you'd see the difference. And you might want to find some things that are more targeted, maybe more richer, just because skin is, it's losing hydration and it needs a little more moisture.
Yeah. I know that, I think this is what Disa might be asking, but it's like when you mentioned acne, retinoids for acne in teenagers
Yes.
versus like a retinoid that you're using for mature skin. Like how does that vary in your point of view?
So adapalene is used for acne. I think regular retinol, it doesn't do as much for acne from what I've seen. Retinaldehyde does a little bit, but it does not work as well as adapalene, which is specifically for acne.
Got it.
So that's where they would probably want to do something like adapalene if they're having like some of that deep acne. At least I've seen it work for people.
Okay. I'm going to ask this question because it actually surprisingly got a lot of like hearts. So like other people wanted to know. It's an interesting question from Michaela DeBull. She said, as someone who lives in California, Sacramento Valley, with summer temperatures regularly in the hundreds, I wonder how this might impact the efficacy of the skincare I buy online. For example, I recently had a Curology package sit in my mailbox all day, and when I opened the package, the bottle was very warm. Should I avoid buying skincare online when it's super, super hot?
This might be an interesting take, but I would say if she lives in Sacramento, try to buy in store if she can. Well, it's Curology, so it's online. Or if she can get the package as soon as it comes in, that would be the recommendation. So normally most brands are stability testing their products. Standard is to do it at 40 degrees Celsius. I was briefly, 40 degrees Celsius is like, it's still in the high 90s.
Okay.
In Fahrenheit.
Got it.
I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I forgot the convert.
Us Americans.
Yeah,
I know. And like 50 brands will do some accelerated testing under 50 degrees Celsius, but it might not be for as long of a period. Standard conditions, you're getting humidity to a certain level just to be able to age the product. Sacramento goes up to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. I was there for a few months like last year.
Yeah.
And it gets piping hot. So I remember ordering a box of chocolates, and that was my mistake. I ordered it online. It sat in the mailbox, and you can't return them.
Yeah.
And it was tragic. But same thing with skincare. There's certain products that will, certain ingredients that might degrade with heat. So it's better to try to keep them at ambient temperatures. You don't need to refrigerate them. But if a product is not super critical, it's probably better to just be cautious when you're ordering in summer.
Yeah.
Again, moisturizers I think are generally fine, but if it's like something like a vitamin C product, just be thoughtful. Same with things like retinoids. Just be cautious.
Okay.
Lip balms, be cautious.
Lip balms.
Because you don't want them, sometimes they can melt. And normally in standard places that are not, with extreme heat, it should be fine. But if their package is, left at the porch for a few days, there's a chance the products can melt.
So Skincare Junkie 86 asks, how come so many brands choose coconut derivatives? This makes it so tough on us beauty lovers with skin allergies. And then she put a broken heart emoji.
No, I know. So most, at least a lot of the common ingredients that are building out the functional part of a product, like a moisturizer or a hair mask or anything that, like any kind of an emulsion, most of the starting materials are either coming from petroleum, coconut, or palm. All of those things are generally abundant. Palm, maybe not so much, but that's generally what's used as a starting material because they have the composition to be able to isolate some of those functional ingredients that create emulsifiers. That's where a lot of it is coming from. I am seeing other derivatives. Some companies are using brassica as a starting material. It doesn't always feel the same sensorially as some of the coconut alternatives. It sounds like you just have to do a little digging. There are some options available. It's a little trickier, but it's mainly because of abundance in the supply chain.
From Lauren Johnson, I would love to know if there are cases where you can mix silicone and water-based products. If so, I would love some tips on how to make that work.
Silicone and water-based. I wish there was a little more elaboration on this one, but I think what I would do if it was two different types of products, I would use the water-based product first and then layer the silicone-based on top of that. That's perfectly fine to do.
Okay.
If that answers the question.
Yeah, we don't know. Hopefully it does.
Emily Buckland, what ingredients really shouldn't be together in the same routine? Not from the standpoint of being too harsh on the skin, but more so, are there ingredients that when in the same routine make one less or non-effective? Or general guidelines for layering products with different ingredients for different purposes? Mm-hmm. I see this a lot when it comes to hypochlorous acid.
Yes.
Are you able to elaborate on that?
So hypochlorous acid does not play well with a lot of other ingredients. So normally when you're putting it in a product, you want to use it itself. That being said, most of the time, if you are layering and you wait enough time between each layer, it's fine to use. It's just that most of the time there's stability issues in the individual product.
Okay, so you can put on like your vitamin C or antioxidant serum and then spray hypochlorous acid, and it'll still be effective if you wait enough time?
Generally, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. But then, is that what she was asking?
Not from the irritation standpoint, because that's generally when you say not to mix certain ingredients, the number one reason, or like the most important reason is same thing, you don't want to mess with your barrier. Yeah. So sometimes if things are too strong or too active, you want to be thoughtful. Same thing with using like AHAs with retinoids, yes, you can. But most of the time, if you're doing it, you have to watch any irritation that can potentially occur. But a lot of times, if it's in the same product, it's usually because of stability. So that's the case for the hypochlorous acid.
Okay.
So her question is actually asking about like the layering.
Is it fine?
Like,
It should be fine. But
is there anything else that you can think of?
In the same routine.
Like, I feel like a lot of people who are now using so many different types of serums, you know, like, and then maybe toners, and they're not, you know, as well educated as you are in knowing that they can use this serum after this toner and it'll be okay, or maybe it's not.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's good. I'm always a big fan of less is more, and you can do this kind of thing of some people like to skin cycle of, you know, alternate the products they're using by day. Like if you're using an AHA one day, use the retinoid the next day. Things that are just focusing on hydration usually play well with everything else, so I wouldn't be too worried about those. Same thing with BHA, so salicylic acid products. You can use them with other things, but it's better to keep it simple and just kind of focus on concern.
Okay, Zoe Myers, why are so many products marketed towards oily skin types silicone-based? As someone with oily skin, silicone-based products, particularly skincare items, have always made me look greasier, given me dehydration, and caused breakouts.
Yeah, that's interesting, and I wonder the same. I would say, so silicones are generally sensorial, so in a primer, it might help just mattify. It might not be nurturing skin the way somebody is looking for. And the thing is, people assume oily skin doesn't need hydration. It actually needs water. So that's going to kind of balance everything out. So you can actually just do general lightweight skincare, moisturizers and that sort of thing. But I'm guessing it's probably primers. They're usually the case.
I don't like silicone primers.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
I like a primer that's like more tacky and dries down.
I just like using a really good moisturizer as a primer because I just feel like I start getting like it starts peeling and it's just not a great experience.
On that note, on the other end, do you like any finishing sprays or setting sprays?
I'm not. I don't know. I don't use any, so I probably should try.
But maybe there's none that are formulated the way that you would like them.
I just never got into it. I feel like I should try. A lot of times, it's kind of like hairspray, but for your face. So normally hairspray, it has some kind of a film former that's locking everything into place. So you have to reduce the film formers to use it on your face. There's something about that I'm just not.
Yeah, I mean, when you say hairspray for my face, I don't love that.
And
but you love one size.
But I will use one size
if you like it and you're
like
enjoying
I won't use it every day. But like if I'm going to be out in the sun or something,
or if you have an event, I think it makes sense. It actually makes sense to use it.
But I'm like, this isn't good for me.
And I've just like never used it. This is maybe embarrassing. I've never used a setting spray myself.
No, that says a lot.
On your Substack, you can start testing them and say these are the best setting sprays according to moi.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that.
Okay. Tanvi Aurora. Why exactly do we have to reapply sunscreen every few hours? What does it do on our skin? Is it bad if we only apply in the morning and don't reapply the rest of the day?
Well, do you reapply your sunscreen?
No. I mean, I try to. I try to, and then Kirby's really good. She has like a little powder compact.
Oh, good.
I definitely try, but realistically, no.
Yeah, I don't think anybody is.
Not on my face,
If I'm at the beach, I totally do.
Yeah, right.
Or if I'm outdoors, I totally do. If I'm indoors.
Yeah. But you have your little...
my
Shiseido.
Yeah, we have the Shiseido one.
Yeah,
have you tried the color signs? You know the one that's in the
the powder one?
No, I haven't. You mean the brush?
That's the one.
I've been told that the brush is not as effective because you're not really getting the protection you need.
Yeah.
This one is literally like a compact that you would go on almost like a powder foundation. And this specific formula is you can only get it overseas. Like you can't get it here.
And even in Asia, like even with the kids sunscreen, a lot of them are cushion compact. So like you can
Oh my God, I love that cushion compact. That's one.
Yeah.
So that's
but
like,
I do
it
reapply
makes it,
body.
Yeah.
Face is just harder.
Yeah, same.
What's happening?
So the reason you want to, so there's two parts to with chemical sunscreens. Once they're absorbed, they degrade. So that's what happens, and you're not. Once they hit the sun, you're not going to get that same level. So that's why you definitely need to reapply. Zinc oxide, titanium dioxide, they are minerals. So it's sort of different, but they're also really difficult to suspend. So some of the emollients that they might be suspended in might be flashing off. And with general wear or physical activity, you might be losing some of it throughout the day. So it might not be the same of how it was when you applied it like a couple of hours ago. So to get full protection, the recommendation is to keep reapplying. It's not the worst thing in the world if people aren't reapplying. Like when they're indoors and not general, if you don't have the sun hitting you, it's good practice too. And if you're able to, I think it's perfectly, it's good to do. It's a good practice, but we also have to be realistic. So
Yeah.
100%.
Do you have a
totally
favorite
agree.
sunscreen, facial sunscreen?
my favorite facial sunscreen. Ooh, it's another one of those like discontinued kind of things. It always happens all the time, and like every time I
there's so
find
many
something,
new
it's always
sunscreens
discontinued.
coming out.
Yeah, I've been trying a lot, and I'm not.
Not impressed.
I want to be, and I really want to be. And I did pick up one in Portugal. It's like a French. You can't buy it here. It's from is it from Aven? I think it might be from Aven.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can't buy it here.
Eucerin makes a really good one that you can't buy here.
Yeah.
And I'm just
So
like, damn.
things like that are good, and I stock up.
Okay.
Whenever I go, I think sunscreens are just.
Okay, but wait, is there a U.S. sunscreen
Yeah.
that you are impressed with? This will like be going gangbusters in the Slack if you can tell us one.
She doesn't like
Sorry,
any.
Y'all.
Sorry.
Wow.
She has spoken.
Yeah.
Gavel
Yeah.
on
The
the desk.
non-answer is speaks volumes.
Should I make one? Should I do it?
Yes, you should.
And we would love to test it
Yeah.
when you start
Yeah.
getting into it.
What is it about the sunscreens that you don't like? Is it like it doesn't feel elegant like they do?
Yeah, they
Okay.
usually don't feel elegant. I'm someone who actually prefers mineral. That's personal preference. It works well for me. And
So then you should have no problem finding a good mineral
I
sunscreen
know,
in the
but
US.
the thing is, like, you have to blend it. It needs to be the right type of emolliency. There's one that I was using most recently. It was a mineral one from Vacation. And what I like is it does leave a white cast, and they don't say it doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, I think brands need to get used to not saying it doesn't leave a cast if it has a mineral, because it is going to. Some things are a little more blendable than others. And that one, I thought it was decent protection-wise. It was good sensorially. It feels... I try to treat it like it's La Mer or something, warm it in my hands and that sort of thing to try to make it more enjoyable. But you want something that feels more spreadable. There's definitely been some ones in the past that just, they're not around anymore.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love how Ramya's like, you can tell she's a fancy bitch. She's like, I want it to feel expensive.
Yeah, I warm it up like La Mer.
Wait a minute. You know what? La Mer does have an SPF that's good. Like their
Do they
SPF is
still?
really good. Yeah, they have it. It's that fluid one. That's actually a really good one.
I was going to ask you, when you said Vacation, are you talking about Shake Shake, their mineral face sunscreen?
That's not the shit. It's the one in the tube. It's heavy and it's old. Like it feels like an old-fashioned sunscreen. And I just use it because I know it's going to stay. And if I'm in, it's water resistant and all that. So that's why I like using that one.
We do like Vacation.
Yeah. So
fun.
it's a nice brand.
Someone's got to impress you, Ramya.
Who are the other ones I need to try? Oh, you know what? I prefer, both are good. I kind of like their older one. Tatcha had they had a hybrid.
Literally.
I think it's in my bag.
The one in the tube, right?
Silken.
That's the Silken Pour.
So
The one they
was it called Silken
discontinued that they don't
That's
make
the
it anymore,
one.
right?
they do make it.
Oh, they do?
So they have.
I think it's on QVC still, isn't it?
so. It's in the blue bottle, right?
Yeah, the blue
Yeah.
one.
That's
Yeah.
well. I don't know if it's your favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I literally harass them to be like, you need to be promoting this one better.
Yeah. I really, really like that one.
But it's also expensive bitch over here. She loves her $80 sunscreen.
it's
And
good.
their
It
$90
works.
cleansers.
It works really
Yeah,
well,
it
and it's just like
does.
it goes
It's
on
so
beautifully.
weird that they just stopped promoting
It's also
it.
confusing because there's the Silken, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's the OG.
Yeah.
Then the
Silk
the
sunscreen.
silk sunscreen, which
Yeah.
was like derived from the
The
silk
purple one.
canvas.
That's
Yeah.
the liquid one, right? That's
Yes.
the
Yeah,
more
that you
fluid
can like
one.
use as a primer almost.
Uh-huh.
That's how the messaging is.
That's the one that Daniel Martin helped
Yes.
create.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's also confusing because it's like the silk sunscreen and the silken sunscreen.
Yeah, so that's where like
people
the
get-
blue and the purple. That's how
Yeah,
it is.
but I don't know. Petition to bring back the other one, I guess.
They still have it.
Okay, good to know.
They really do. They just do not promote it. I do not understand.
I know, but that being said, I get it. Like, it's not
It's not like sexy.
it's not inexpensive, I guess.
Yeah.
No, I think it actually feels really nice.
Yeah.
It's
What's
not
the price
the most
point
I know.
competing with.
I just mean like in comparison to like this is a primer and a sunscreen and
Yeah,
all
yeah,
of these
yeah.
things.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the consumer is like, oh, it does all these things and this one
Right.
just kind of is
Yeah.
the sunscreen.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Well,
like
it's interesting that they even still have it. I guess the QVC consumer probably really likes
Yeah.
it.
and me. Like,
And
I feel like it had a deal on QVC. I think it's a little more. There was some QVC deal. I
Okay.
feel like I need to go back. Maybe I
Are
need
you
to.
watching QVC?
Am I watching QVC? I used to. Like I
Someone is though.
yeah,
People
I
are
used
watching
to.
QVC.
People
People
are
are
100% watching
watching.
QVC.
I always think of like the Josie Moran body butters. I just think of QVC. Like it's like, you
my
know,
I mean,
God.
and
it's so,
Tatcha.
yeah.
It was built on QVC. I mean, that's why they are so successful.
It Cosmetics.
Yes.
Hello.
QVC's
Yes.
done
Okay,
Okay,
wonders.
wow. We could
Anyways,
talk to you
okay.
for, I'm not even kidding you. Like, let's go to dinner. I
Yeah.
just,
Oh,
you have
yes,
amazing
please. Yes,
product
please.
recs, by the way.
We also didn't answer like a few other questions. We have to
Yeah.
have part 2.
Okay.
Yes, but we are so thrilled that you were able to come and spend some time with us. I learned so much. I know our listeners learned so much. Where can everybody find you online and follow you?
I do have a personal TikTok that I barely post on, but I think I'm going to start after this, after
it.
today. It's at Breaking Beakers.
Cute.
At Breaking Beakers. I think, is that my handle? I
We'll
think
link
that's my
it.
handle.
We'll
yeah,
link
we'll
it in our
link
show
And
notes.
then where can we buy
It's Breaking
Compressed?
Beakers. CompressedBeauty.com.
Great.
Compressed Beauty does have a TikTok, and it's a very small TikTok that we're trying to grow slowly.
Great.
And trying to find our people there. And it does have, we do have a TikTok. Compressed Beauty's on Instagram too.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.